Hi, I'm Felicia Greenwood, and we are here to do a class called Boost Your Bones. And the reason we're doing the class is because we know that as we age, we lose our muscle tone and bone density. And there's research to show when we do exercise with weights that we can change that and change it for a positive. So we are going to do some exercises today with weights, and I realize some of you at home may not have weights, and if you do not, there are some options for you. And one is for a hand weight is just to grab a can of vegetables or soup, and any can that you can put your hands around, your fingers around. So that's an option if you don't have a hand weight. And if you don't have leg weights like these, then you can take some socks and you can fill each sock with some beans and tie them together at the top and drape them across your legs when we do the leg exercises. So those are some options for you if you don't have weights at home. I will give lots of options on how to do the different exercises. Make sure that you know your limitations and that you work to your own level. This is your workout, and listen to your body. So let's get started. We are going to warm up first, and usually I do this with music, but we're not allowed to do that. So maybe turn some music on in your home, in your apartment, your garage, wherever you're doing this workout, just to hear a little bit of beat going on behind you. So the idea of the warm-up is just to warm up our muscles. So we're just gonna march in place. My warm-up, if you decide that you'd like to warm up in a different way, then go for it. Just wanna warm up your muscles. So we're gonna start with some marching, and we're gonna take that now to a wide march. And you're going to engage your arms as well as your legs. We're going to try and make some big movements to get our heart rate up. Bring those legs back in. And now we're going to tap our heels out in front, and the arms go in the opposite direction. You want to raise those arms up, no higher than shoulders, but just to get those arms working as well. And we're going to take the heels out to the side now. So we're just going to tap the heels out to the side, and we can use our elbows, raise up the arms. We're just going to do all sorts of crazy things to get our heart rates up here. Now we're going to take those feet out on toe taps in the front, and we're going to take our arms up and down, and up and down, and toe tap out in front, and reach up and down. Reach and down, and reach and down, and 4, 3, 2, and 1, and back to a march, marching it wide. And we're going to stop here with the march, and we're going to sweep the floor, and we're going to take it up and sweep the floor and reach it up. Last time, sweep and reach it up and bring it in, back to a march. And we're going to take the arms side to side as we bring those knees up in our march. And we're just going to take it 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I think I'm warmed up. So hopefully you've gotten your heart rate up a little bit and you're ready to go. So we're going to start with wide-legged squats. This would be the time for you to have your water close by, so that if you need to, you can always get a drink, and you have your hand weights, your cans, your leg weights, whatever you need close by. We're going to start with the wide-legged squat. You can do any exercise that we're going to do today, standing or sitting for the most part. There'll be a few that will be down on the floor. But the wide-legged squat is one that you could also engage a chair if you need that for support. So the wide-legged squat, if you're using your chair, you want to keep your chair close behind you, and you're going to sit back in the chair and then stand back up. That's your wide-legged squat if you choose to use the chair. If not, you're going to step away from the chair. You also have an option here of using weights for the wide-legged squat. So wide-legged is just like it implies. Your legs are wider than your hips, and toes are a little bit of a diagonal. So we don't want them to be straight out in front, and we don't want them turned in. So a little bit of a diagonal. You're going to sit back as if you're going to sit in a chair, but you're not going to sit down in the chair if you're not using the chair. So if that makes sense, we're going to go down for 2 and up for 2. I'm using weights for this. You don't have to. This is targeting mostly our lower body, and you don't need to add the weights, but that's an option. So wide-legged squat, 2 counts down and up. Absolutely important that you maintain a sense of humor as you do these exercises. So you're going to sit back and stand back up. And you're going to sit back, reach toward the floor with the weights, and then we're going down for 3 and back up. And we're going down for 4, and we're coming back up. And we're going to sit back for 5 and back up, as if, like I said, there's a chair back there, and coming back up. That was 6. 7, and come back up. Sit down for 8, and back up. Reach down for 9, and back up. Last time, sit back and up for 10. Now, all the exercises that we do in Boost Your Bones are 2 sets of 10 reps, unless I tell you otherwise. So this is one of those that we have 2 sets. So you're going to take a little bit of a break in between just to cool down a little bit, bring the heart rate down a bit, and then we're going to bring it back up. So it's a little bit of working our cardio, our heart muscle, to do that. So second set, we want about 10 to 20 seconds in between. So second set, same thing. We're going to take those weights in front if we're using them. If you're using the chair, you want to make sure it's close behind. And we're going to take it down for 1 and back up. Sit down and back up. And 3 and back up. And sit back and back up. And 5 and back up. And 6 and back up. Make sure your bottom's going back and up. And 8 and 2 more. And 9 and up and down for 10 and up. And we're done with our first exercise, wide-legged squats. We're going to hold on to the chair for balance with this next one. This is hamstring curl. I like to do upper body and then switch to lower body. So through the course of the entire routine, we'll alternate upper and lower body. So we just did a lower body, but we engaged with the weights. We're going to now go to hamstring curls. So this is going to be for the back of our legs. You want to find a chair or a table, counter, something that you can use for balance. And if you're using your leg weights, if you've got the ones that wrap around your ankle, you can wrap those around. If you're using the sock weights, then you're going to drape it back behind your ankle. You're going to place the opposite hand of the leg you're going to work. So I'm going to work my right leg first. My left hand is going to be on the chair counter for balance. Toe is down on the floor, belly button is pulled in, shoulders are set and back. And you're going to curl up the heel towards your bottom and then take the toe back down to the floor. That's 1. And then we take it up and down for 2. And you keep the belly button pulled in and then back down, that's 3. And you exhale and inhale, and that's 4. And we take it back up and down for 5. And we curl, heel back up and toe down for 6. And up and down for 7. And up and down for 8, and up and down for 9, and up and down for 10. Now this is one of the exercises that we only do one set of 10 reps, and we do that on each leg. So that was my right leg, so now I'm going to switch over and do the same thing on my left leg. So my right hand is going to hold on to the counter, chair, whatever I'm going to use for balance. Your standing leg, whenever we do an exercise where we are on one leg, the standing leg always has a gentle bend because we don't want to lock that knee joint. So my standing right leg is going to have a little bit of a bend. My right hand is going to be on the chair, and I'm going to take my left heel and bring it up to my backside, and then my toe comes down to the floor. That's 1. And then we curl it up and down for 2. I try and keep my knees close together, up and down for 3. Belly button pulled in, up and down for 4. Shoulders set, up and down for 5. And up and down for 6. And up and down for 7, and up and down for 8. We have 2 more. Up and down for 9. And last one, curl it up and down for 10. And we're targeting the hamstring, which is just below your bottom. That's what should be tightening up as you make that curl. That's the target for that. Okay, so we're going to switch it up to upper body. We're going to grab our hand weights or whatever we're using for weight, and we're going to do an overhead press. This is one you can do sitting in the chair or standing. I'm going to stand. And we want to take our legs a little wider than our hips, just kind of as a stable foundation. Smiling, always important. And we're going to have a gentle bend in those knees. So we're going to start with our palms forward, but we can gently curl our fingers over the weights. And we're just going to press up overhead and back down for 1. Now we do 2 sets of 10. Up and back down for 2. Weight is on my heels. Up and down for 3. And you want to exhale as you press up and down for 4. And we're going to press up and down for 5. Belly buttons pulled in, nice straight back, up and down for 6. And up and down for 7. And up and down for 8. 2 more. Press it directly up, down for 9. Last time. Press it up and down for 10. And this is where we take our little break. Now I am notorious for forgetting where I am in my counting. So if I say 4 and then I jump to 6, just do what you need to do because I sometimes forget where I am. So having said that, we're going to start for the next set. So you're going to find your starting position, feet a little wider than your hips, gentle bend in your knees, belly buttons pulled in. We're going to take our weights up to our shoulders, and we're going to do our second set. So we're going to take it up for 1 and back down and press it up for 2 and back down. And press it up for 3 and back down. Nice straight back. Up for 4 and down. Weights on my heels. Up for 5 and back down. Push and press and down. I think this is 7 and down. Press up overhead for 8. We have 2 more. Hang in there. Press it up for 9 and down, and push it up for 10 and down. Now this is a good time to let you know that it's important for you to keep track of the intensity that you're using. The research shows that you should be using weights that by the time you get to the end of the second set, you're challenged. It's not easy to do the exercise, that it's more difficult than it is easy. And that lets you know that you're using a weight that is challenging your muscles and will actually help in overturning any bone density loss. So make sure that you're not just using a little weight that makes it really easy to get through the exercises. So challenge yourself is what I'm saying. So the next one is quad extensions. Once again, we are going to find a chair or counter or something to put our opposite hand on so that we can balance. So I'm going to stand with my left hand on my chair because I'm going to work my right leg. The left leg is my standing or support leg, so it's got a gentle bend in it. This time, we are going to lengthen the muscle, make it a nice, long, straight leg instead of curl, which bends the knee. So we're going to keep that knee straight. We're going to start with the heel on the floor, always belly button kind of pulled in, straighten the back and shoulders down. We're going to take that right leg and we're going to extend it and lift it up and then bring it back down. Heel comes to the floor but kind of hovers just above it. You don't want to drop and release the muscle. We want to keep it engaged. And then we take it up again for 2 and back down. And then exhale, lift for 3 and down. Belly buttons pulled in, up for 4 and down. And we take it up for 5 and down. Doesn't matter how high you lift it, that's 6. As soon as you take the leg up off the floor, this is 7, you're engaging that quadricep, that big muscle in the front of your leg, on the top of the leg. So I think that was 8, this is 9, and down. Exhale, lift for 10, and down. You want to hesitate a little bit at the top of that, just to kind of keep that leg engaged, and then release it as you come down. And this is one of those exercises that we're going to do 1 set of 10 reps for each leg. So that was my right leg. I'm going to switch then. My right hand is going to touch the chair or counter, whatever it is, for balance. My left heel comes out in front. Belly button's pulled in, shoulders are set. And we're going to lift the left leg now and then take that heel down. Just imagine that there's a string and you're pulling through the quadricep as you lift that leg up. That was 3. And then up for 4. And you want to keep the belly button pulled in, but exhale and don't forget to breathe. I think that was 5. Exhale up for 6 and down. Lift for 7 and down. Exhale up for 8, and we have 2 more. And we're going to lift for 9 and down. And last time, lift and down. So that's for this big muscle in the front of the leg, the quadricep. We also indirectly use our hip flexors, but we're trying to work the muscles around the femur, the bone, and then the muscles of the quad. Okay, I'm going to take a drink of water here because I'm talking so much. My lips are starting to stick to my teeth. So that's not a pretty thing. We're going to do a bent over row. So for some of you who've done this class with me at the Senior Center, I've changed a few of the exercises. So this is one that I changed a little bit. Bent over, we are going to keep our legs under our hips, and we're going to hinge and bend at the waist. And we're going to put those weights just down underneath our chest. We want a nice line from the tip of our head to our tailbone. We don't want to lift our chin up like this. That doesn't make a nice line, and it's hard for me to talk. So I'm going to lower my chin, nice line. And we're going to take those weights, and we're going to pull the elbows back toward our waist, and then we lower it back down. So it's a lift up, kind of a hold, and then back down. That's 2. Up and back down for 3. Kind of lead with the elbows as you pull up and back down for 4. Gentle bend in those knees and down for 5. Pull the elbows up and down for 6. Pull it up and down for 7. My belly button's pulled in, nice flat back, down for 8. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, and 9, and then pull it up and down for 10. And you're going to slowly lift yourself back up to standing. That's one set. We've got 2 sets of these. Sometimes, depending on what the exercise is, you might say, wow, that was really hard to do with that set of weights. I need lighter weights. So I encourage you to have, if you have it available, different sizes of weights. And that way you can determine what weight you need and that challenges you and gets you to that intensity level. This is one where you might use a lighter weight depending on the strength of your upper body. So let's do our second set. You're going to stand with your feet about hip distance apart. You're going to bend, keep the gentle bend in the knees. We're going to hinge at the waist. Weights are just under our chest. Nice line from tip of our head to our tailbone. Here's our second set. Pull it up and down. Squeeze the shoulders in the back and down. Pull it up and down for 3. This targets our back primarily. Down for 4. Pull it up and down. Lead with the elbows and down. Pull it up for 7 and down. Pull it up for 8 and down. Pull it up for 9 and down. Last time, up for 10 and down. And roll yourself back up slowly, and you can put the weights down for now. We are going to do lower body, give our upper body a chance to rest a moment, and we're going to do an extension with the leg. Last time we extended the leg out in front and engaged the quad. This time we're going to extend the leg behind, and we're going to squeeze through the glutes and engage the hamstring. So we did a hamstring curl, which targets that hamstring, but this time we're going to target our glutes. So we start, I'm going to use my right leg first. Left hand is on my support. My standing leg has a gentle bend. I'm going to keep my belly button pulled in, take my shoulders back and set them. My toes on the floor, and I'm going to lift and squeeze my glutes. It's a shorter lift behind us because we just don't have the flexibility to lift our leg up that high. So anytime you take it up off the floor, you immediately engage the muscle. And we take it back down. And then we lift it up and squeeze and back down. And 3, lift and back down. I am hesitating at the top. 4, and making sure I squeeze the glutes. And down. And up, I think that's 5. And back down. And exhale, 6. And back down. And lift directly behind, squeeze and down. Lift for 8 and down. Exhale, up for 9 and down. Last time, lift and squeeze and back down. That's one set. The second set is on the other leg. So you're going to come around to the other side of your chair if that's what you're using. I'm going to use my left leg now. This time, it's always a little bit more difficult when you're alternating legs in an exercise or arms, because now my standing leg and my support leg is the one I just worked. So it's tight and a little tired out. So you might find it harder to do the second set on the other leg. Hang in there. It's all going to be good in the end. So I'm going to support myself with my right hand. My left leg, toe is down on the floor. Belly button is pulled in. My shoulders are back. I'm going to lift and squeeze my glutes and then tap it back down. Lift and squeeze and down for 2. Lift and squeeze and down for 3. You have a tendency to come forward. I don't want you to do that. I want you to try and stand upright. Up for 4 and back down. Lift and squeeze and down. 6, lift and squeeze and down. Lift and squeeze. 7 and down, lift and squeeze for 8, and down, lift and squeeze for 9, and down, lift and squeeze for 10, and down. Now I took both my hands up and put them on my belly. As you work through this and you do it a few times, sometimes it's important and really a good thing to try and balance through exercises. Just gives it a little extra something. So if you want to do that in some of these alternating leg exercises, I can encourage you to place both hands, whether you're doing the front extension or the back or the curl, and just balance on one leg. Don't start that way. But like I said, once you get the hang of it and you're feeling stronger, you might do one like that, 2 reps like that. Just try and do it without hanging on to something. Okay, so what's next? We're going to go back to upper body. We targeted the back when we did the standing bent over or the bent over row. Now we're going to do a standing chest fly, and this is the opposite muscle group. Whereas the row targeted the back, this is going to target our chest. All of it works our shoulders. So we're going to start with our feet a little wider than our hips, and shoulders are set down and back. Belly buttons pulled in, gentle bend in our knees, and we're going to start with the arms up like we did with our overhead press, but this time we're going to close the elbows together in front of the chest. So you want to look when you bring those elbows together, it should be somewhere in front of the chest. We're not closing them in front of our chin or our face. We're going to start so that our arms are about 90 degrees, and as we bring those elbows in toward one another, they close in front of our chest. That's the goal. Your elbows don't have to meet or touch each other. The idea is just to close the arms and try and bring the elbows toward one another. So we start upright like this, soft hold on our weights. And I've said that, I think I said that before. If not, the reason we do a soft hold whenever we're holding on our weights is because if we squeeze the weight, we play with our blood pressure. And we don't want to do that. We want a nice soft hold on the weights, so we're not working muscles we are not intending to work or changing the blood pressure. So starting up here, we're going to bring those elbows together in front of the chest and then back open. And 2, and open. Belly button pulled in, 3, and open. Keeping those arms about 90 degrees. Nobody's going to measure. And then bring it together, 5, and open for 6. Close and open for 7. Close and open. Close and open. And last time, close and open. As you open that up, try not to go beyond your shoulders. You just want to be able to go right at the shoulder, not open up and hyperextend back. So you take those weights down, catch your breath, maybe get a drink. This is our little bit of a breather before we do our second set. The second set is where we gauge our intensity. As we get to that 10 reps, we get to 7 or 8 or 9 reps. That's when it should be challenging, and that's where you know whether you're using the right weight. So, second set, bring those arms back up, 90 degrees, and we're going to close the elbows together for 1, and then open. Belly buttons pulled in and open. Nice flat back. That's 3 and open. My weight is on my heels. I'm not coming forward on my toes. I'm kind of sitting back on my heels. And I think that was 6. And close and open for 7. Close and open for 8. It's harder than you think to count and talk the whole time and give cues. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it, and I think that was 10. So we're going to take those weights down. That was our standing chest fly. Now, before I said that I like to alternate upper and lower body, but really I like to alternate opposing muscle groups. So we're actually going to go to upper body again, but we're going to do opposing muscle groups. We're going to work the biceps and the triceps. Biceps are generally one of our strongest muscle groups because we do so much lifting in our lives. So this is really one where you might be able to use a higher set of weights. Now I just have one set here, so I'm going to use the same one. But if you have access to, or if you have several sets of weights, biceps is one where you might be able to use a little bit heavier weight. So, having given us a little break, we're going to go back to our stable position. Feet are wider than our hips. It just feels a little bit more stable that way. Doesn't have to be really wide. Gentle bend in the knees, and we're going to do a bicep curl, full range of motion. What I mean by that is we're going to start with the weights just about at our hips or the top of our thigh, and we're not going to have them resting there. They're going to be lifted, so we've engaged the muscle right from the start. Shoulders are set and back, and we're going to pull those weights up to the shoulders and then lower them down without touching or resting. So we keep those muscles engaged. And that was 2. We keep the elbows close to our waist, up and down for 3. I go slowly with the bicep curls, up and down for 4, because I feel like people go quickly and they use the momentum of the movement instead of the muscle. I think this is 6. And down. And we're going to exhale, raise the weight up to the shoulder, and down for 7. Belly button pulled in, flat back, up for 8, and lower it back down. 2 more, curl it up, and lower it back down. Last time for this set, up, and back down. So, before we start the second set, sometimes I'm telling you how to breathe, to exhale, to inhale. That's a secondary thing. Once you've done the routine a few times and you know how to do the exercises, it's more important for you to work and to watch your form than to worry about your breathing. But once you get the form down, breathing is a way for you to control your breath through the movement. And in general, we want to exhale on the hard part of the movement. So in a bicep curl, when we curl up, that's the hard part. Taking it down is easy. I mean, it's just going to drop on its own. We're going to try and control it, but we're going to curl up, and that's the difficult. So that's the exhale. In general, we exhale through the exertion. We inhale on the relaxing. So, second set. Shoulders set, belly button pulled in. Weights are just above our hips to engage the muscle, and we're going to curl it up, and we're going to take it down. And we're going to exhale up, and we're going to take it down. And we're going to curl it up for 3, and we're going to take it down. Keep those elbows in at the waist for 4. And back down. Nice flat back, curl it up for 5 and lower it down. And we're going to curl it up for 6 and we're going to take it down. And we're going to curl it up for 7 and we're going to lower, don't touch, keep it engaged, up for 8 or 9, I'm not sure. 2 more. Exhale and down. Last time, taking it up to the shoulders and down. And that's our 2 sets. So we are going to give our arms a little bit of a break here because we're going right into triceps. So we're going to go right into the opposing muscle group. So kind of give your arms a little bit of a break. You might want to open and close your fingers a little bit just to kind of relax through that. The tricep, we take the weights over the head and behind the head. So this is one that sometimes people like to do sitting down, just because it gives you a little bit more support as you raise those weights over your head. So if you want to, you can do this one sitting down. You can do any of them sitting down, but this is one that might be particularly difficult if you have back issues. So I'm going to start facing you and kind of turn around so that you can see how to do this one correctly. You can do the tricep overhead press a couple different ways besides sitting in the chair. You can do it with one weight, and you can hold the weight in both of your hands up over the head with that weight behind you and the elbows close to your head, or you can use two weights, one hand on each weight, and then you're going to put them up and back behind your head, keeping the elbows close to you, close to your head. So it's up to you. This is a little bit more difficult exercise, so kind of play with it, see which one works best for you. And like I said, you can also sit down. So I'm going to use two weights, and I'm going to take those weights behind my head, and I'm going to keep my elbows close to my head. My elbows do not move through the exercise. We're just going to push those weights and straighten the arms, and then lower those weights back down behind the head. But the whole time, you want to keep those elbows in the same place. Belly button's pulled in, and I have a straight back. So we're going to press up and overhead and down. Pull the belly button in, press, and back down. Kind of look at your elbows, make sure they're not moving in space. And 4, and back down. Gentle bend in your knees, belly button pulled in, up and down is 5. Press up and down for 6. Press up overhead and down for 7. Press and down for 8. Keep those belly buttons in to support the lower back. And down last time. Press up and down for 10. So we're going to take a little break before the second set. Something I want you to think about. Some people want to drop their chin and do it like this. I'd like you to keep your chin up. Nice line, once again, from your head down your spine. Don't drop your chin. Keep your belly button pulled in. Anytime we're pressing overhead, we're putting more pressure on our backs. So pull the belly button in, stabilizes your core. So second set, feet are a little bit wider than my hips again. I'm going to take those weights up over my head and behind. Sometimes I get my hair caught in the weights, so you can be aware that you might get your hair caught back there. Just be careful. Elbows in, and I'm going to take it up for 1 and back down. I'm going to push those weights up for 2 and back down. Up for 3 and back down. Look at your elbows. Up and down for 4. Press up and down for 5. Press up and down for 6. Up and down for 7. Exhale. Down for 8. Down for 9, it should be getting hard, up and down for 10, and bring those weights around. Nice job, that one's not easy. Okay, we don't need weights for this next one unless you've got your ankle weights on. This is one that it's the standing calf and toe raises. And we do this one to work the front, the shin, front of the lower leg, as well as the calf and the back of the lower leg. And we're going to come up on our toes and then sit back on our heels. Once again, when you first start doing this one, make sure that you are using a chair, counter, or a wall, something to help balance. It's one thing to come up on your toes. We do that a lot, up on our tippy toes and back down. We don't very often lean back on our heels and raise our toes up. So that's where you really want to make sure that you've got something to hang on to. So I'm going to stand to the side so I can show you how we're going to do this one. I've got something to hang on to, and I'm going to come up onto my toes, and then I'm going to sit back and lift my toes and sit on my heels. And I'm going to, that's one set, or one rep. So come up and back, that's 2. Come up on the toes, back on the heels for 3. Up on the toes, back on the heels for 4. Up and back 5. Up and back 6. Belly buttons in, up and back for 7. Up and sit back for 8. Up and back for 9. Up, back for 10. And that's one set. We're going to do 2. Like I said, you can do this where you try and balance a little bit sometime without using anything, but make sure you've got something close by so you don't end up on your backside, the middle of it. So second set. Belly buttons pulled in, shoulders are back. We're going to come up onto the toes and then sit back on the heels for 1. It's a nice fluid movement, and back for 2. Come up and back for 3. Come up, back for 4. As you come back, you lift those toes up off the floor. Up and back for 5. Up, sit back on the heels for 6. Up, sit back, 8. 7. 7. And back for 8. I don't know what I'm on. Up and back for 9. Take it up last time and back for 10. And that's standing heel and toe raises. Nice job. Okay, we are going to do wrist curl. And this is really important for the bones in our wrist. Oftentimes when we get older, we have a greater tendency to fall, and we brace ourselves, or we try and break our fall, and we break a wrist. So this is really an important exercise. And I'm going to do this sitting because I can rest my forearms on my legs and support them while I curl through my wrist. If you've done these with me at the senior center, we often did them standing up with no support, and we dropped and curled through. I'm going to do these sitting. You can do them either way, but this will give you a little bit more support through your back and working through your wrist. You start with the knuckles down. It's a small movement, and then you curl and raise those knuckles up. So it's a wrist curl, but it's a really small movement. We're going to start with those weights out in front, forearms on our knees or on our legs, and we're going to start with the knuckles down, and then we're going to curl up and down and up and down and up for 3 and down and up for 4. We're working through the muscles around those tiny bones in the wrist. Up for 5, down, up for 6, down, 7, curl, 8, knuckles down, up, last time, and up. And then you can put those weights down and just kind of roll through those wrists, give it a little bit of a relief. Open and close your fingers. It's a small movement, but it's difficult because we don't typically do that movement a lot with our wrists. So we're trying to build up the muscles around there. We're not going to fall, but in case we have to help someone else who's about to fall. We're going to make sure that we're strong through our wrists. So we start with those knuckles down. Our forearms are on our legs, and we're going to curl up. And down and up for 2. Down and up for 3. Down, curl, that's 4. Down, curl, 5. Down, up 6. Down, knuckles up 7. Down, up for 8. 2 more, 9, last time, and 10. And that's a hard one. So kind of shake out your hands and your wrists a little bit. We're going to put the weights down. We have one more exercise that we're going to do standing before we move down to the floor and onto our mats. And this one is a balance exercise. No weights need to be used at all for this. As we age, we also need to work on balance and our relationship to space around us. So this is something that we're going to work on, and we're going to do what's called a one-legged stork. And I'm going to give you a couple options for this one. The one-legged stork has one leg on the floor for balance, one foot on the floor for balance. And you want to hang on to a chair or a counter. The other leg you're going to put on the bottom of your leg for support, or above the knee up here for support. We don't want to put our foot right on our knee like that. So we either go above the knee like this, or we're going to put it below the knee. And that's the flat part of our foot. If that's too awkward for you to do that one-legged stork, your balance is going to be just standing on one leg with a knee up in the air. So you're really doing a one-legged knee lift. And you're going to hang on to a chair if you need to at the beginning. The idea, though, is that we are able to let go of our support at some point and using our core and strength to hold that balance. So we want to hold each leg about 30 seconds. I'll let you time that on your own. So you're going to choose now whether you're going to put your foot on the inside of your leg, or you're just going to lift your leg, your knee up. So make that choice. And I find if I can find a spot out in front of me to focus on, then that helps me balance. So that's something, look out in front of you on something on the floor, your dog, cat, something that's going to be stationary, actually. So you want to find that, and then you're going to pull your belly button in. Like I said, start with your support, hanging on to something, and then you can bring your hands to heart center, and you're just going to hold that pose. Bring the belly button in. You might fall out, you might start to lose, and then try and bring back the pose and balance. Don't forget to breathe. You might be a little wobbly, that's okay. And you want to breathe through it, hold that balance, and then release it. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other leg. So whether you are standing with your knee up in the air and the other one foot flat on the floor, you can do it that way, or you can do it with the foot up against your leg, either above or below the knee. So you're going to start, find your point, and then focus on that. You can bring your hands out in heart center. Once you find your balance, you're going to breathe and hold it. And like I said, you might wobble a little bit, you might fall out. That's okay. The goal is to come back and be able to balance. And do that, like I said, maybe 20, 30 seconds. And then take it back down. So that's everything until we get to the mat. So we'll get on the floor and do everything else. Okay, so we are going to finish our exercises on the floor, and I've got a mat that I'm using. I would suggest that you find some kind of towel or mat. If you've got carpeting, that's fine too. It's just something to lie back on. We're going to start on our backs, supine position. We have 2 exercises on our back, and then we're going to flip over, do one on our belly, prone position, and finish on our side. And then we'll do some stretching and we'll be done. So we're going to start, we're going to lean back. My feet are about hip distance apart. My knees are up, and I'm going to make sure that my lower back, I can feel the mat under my lower back. We're going to start with our weights, and this is a chest press. So we are in supine position, which means we're on our backs. We're going to start with those elbows out so that we are making about a 90-degree angle between our shoulder, our elbow, and our hand. And we're going to start with those out there. They're probably right in front of our weights are right in front on top of our elbows, is what I'm trying to say, not well. And we're going to press straight up and then lead with the elbows down without touching the floor. Once again, that keeps the chest and the arms engaged. Pull the belly button in, and you're going to press up and down. That's 2. Press up and down, 3. Press up and down, 4. Press up and down, 5. Push up, straight up, down, 6. Push up and down, 7. Push up and down, 8. Up, 9. Last time, push it up for 10. And that's our first set. So making sure that we always come back down to about that 90-degree angle, shoulder, elbow to hand, and keeping the elbow just up off the floor and keeping everything engaged. Belly button pulled in and kind of supports everything through the exercise. So we're going to set it up for our second set. Belly button pulled in, arms out here, elbows are even with our shoulders, and we're going to push up and down for 1. Exhale, push straight up and down for 2. Push up and down for 3. Push up and down for 4. Push up and down for 5. Halfway there. Push up and down for 6. Engage the core. Up and down for 7. Up and down for 8. 2 more. And down last time. Push it up and down. And that's our second set. Now we're actually done with our weights, our hand weights. So you can put those hand weights away, and we are going to do what's called a tummy tuck or a pelvic tilt. And this is important just so that we maintain strong core, which will support our back, help us in our balance, help us keep strong through our middle. And it's a really small movement. We're going to stay in the same position with our knees up and our feet flat on the floor. I want you to put your hand underneath your back, and most of us have a little bit of a space between our backside and our rib cage when we're on our back. There's a little bit of space there. I want you to tilt your pelvis back towards your shoulders. Press the belly button, pull the belly button in, press the lower back so that there is no space now. And that, coming back to start, that's 1 rep. So whether you want to call it a tummy tuck or a pelvic tilt, the idea is that you're going to tilt the pelvis back, press that lower back into the floor, and then come back to start, or back to where there's a little bit of space. Okay, we only do 1 set of these. So here we go. We're going to tilt back, and to start is 1. Tummy tuck, pelvis tilt, and back for 2. Tilt, and back for 3. I like to squeeze my glutes as I'm doing this, up and back for 4. It just kind of feels like everything tightens up. Pull it in and back for 5. Tilt the pelvis back toward the shoulders, release it for 6. Tilt and back for 7. Tilt and back for 8. 2 more. Press that lower back, middle back into the floor and release it. Last time, tummy tuck, tilt, and back for 10. And there we go. So we're going to roll over now onto our bellies. And I'm just realizing that I have to move this pack again because I will be laying on it if I don't. So we are going to be on our bellies. This is a back extension. This is an exercise for our upper and lower back. And there's several options for you to do this exercise, depending on how flexible you are. It's meant to be challenging, but I don't want you to be in pain. So if you've had back issues, then you'll have to kind of figure out which option works best for you. So we're going to be over on our bellies. And the most challenging will be lifting our ankles and lower legs up off the floor while we're also lifting our chest and arms and shoulders up off the floor and back down. That would be 1 rep. If you find that to be very difficult, you have the option of just lifting the legs or just lifting the arms. Or you could lift 1 arm and 1 leg. So 1 arm would be in front, 1 arm, and you would do opposite an arm and leg and then back down. So lots of options. We're only doing 1 set of 10. So you choose which way you can do that, and you can work up to doing both arms and legs eventually, just whatever works for you. So make sure you're looking directly to your mat or to the floor. We don't want to lift the chin up. We want to keep a nice line from top of our head down to our tailbone. So I'm going to stick my arms out and do arms and legs. We're going to take it up and hold and down for 1. Up and down for 2. Belly button pulled in to support the back, down for 4. Up and down for 5. Up and down for 6. Exhale up, down for 7. Exhale up and down for 8. Up and down for 9. Last time, up and down for 10. And you're going to push yourself up onto your elbows and you're going to roll over onto one side or the other. We're going to do both sides. The last exercise we have is called sideline leg lifts. Now I have kept my leg weights on through these exercises on the floor. You don't have to, but this sideline leg lift, if you have taken your weights off or have your sock weights close by, we're going to use the weights for this. It's important for you to be hip stacked. You can do it up on your elbow, making sure your elbow is right under your shoulder like this, or some people like to do it down here so that they're on the floor and they kind of cradle their head in their arm. Whatever works for you. Make sure though that your hips are stacked. You're not rolling back like this and lifting your leg, because now you're engaging the front of your leg, not the side. And we're not rolled forward because now we've engaged the back of the leg and not the side. This is targeting the abductors, the muscles around the side of your hips. And we just want to make sure that we have strong muscles, because a lot of people fall and break their hips when they get older. So we're going to target those muscles around that. Up, I'm going to start on my elbow. You can lie down on your shoulder. My bottom leg is bent underneath me, and I'm going to take the top leg, lift it just an inch or so off the floor. That engages those muscles from the start. And I'm going to take it up from there and down. I'm going to keep my toes so that it's pointed to the wall out in front of me, and down. I think that was 3. Up and down for 4. Up and down for 5. Look at your line to make sure that you're working the side, the abductors, the side muscles around the leg. I don't know where I am. 7. Up for 8. Lift up for 9. And up for 10. This is a tough one. And you may have to work up to using the leg weights, but don't be discouraged. It's not an exercise that people do a whole lot, working those abductors. So don't be discouraged. Do what you can, and then we're going to flip over and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So like I said earlier, sometimes the second set is harder because we have already worked the muscle group that we're now lying on in this case, or standing on, and it's a little harder. So my bottom leg is bent. My elbow is under my shoulder. My top leg is extended. My hips are stacked. And I'm going to take the leg up and down without touching the floor. And up for 2 and down. Looking down my leg for 3. Making sure my toes pointed to the opposite wall for 4, up and down for 5, and up and down for 6, almost done, up and down for 7, up and down for 8, 2 more, up and down for 9, last one, up and down for 10. And you should feel that in the muscles around the hip. And that's a tough one, but you did it. So, awesome. We are going to stay on the floor for a couple more minutes, and we are going to stretch the muscles that we worked. And I am going to take these off so that I'm not working the muscles anymore. I'm stretching and releasing. So I apologize for that annoying noise. And we're going to start with our legs just out in front. And I don't have them crossed. They're just kind of open and out in front. Whatever way you can sit upright and work through some stretches here. You can do them in your chair if that works better. I'm going to stay on the floor on my mat. So we're just going to sit upright. We're going to set those shoulders, relax them. I'm going to take one arm across my chest. I'm going to take my hand and press the shoulder in, and then I'm going to turn and look in the opposite direction. And that's stretching through the upper back and my shoulder. And I'm just going to breathe through the stretch here. It's very important to stretch through those muscles after we work them. They've gotten tight, and we want to release those muscles. So we're going to hold them for, maybe 10, 20 seconds each stretch. So we're going to take the opposite arm now. Press that shoulder against the chest, turn and look in the opposite direction. Nice straight back and breathing. Getting a nice stretch through our upper back and our shoulders. And release it. I'm going to grab my fingers behind or my wrist. I'm going to open up the chest now, and I'm going to try and squeeze those shoulder blades together and get a nice stretch through my chest. And I'm going to open up the chest, look up a little bit, and then look down, keeping that chest open, and then look to one side, and then slowly over to the other. And now I'm going to round the back. So I'm going to take those fingers in front. I'm going to press to the opposite wall. I'm going to drop my chin and round the back. So the opposite of what we just did, opening the chest. We're going to release those muscles and take it down. So I'm going to go to standing now so we can finish in a standing position. Sometimes it takes people a little bit longer to get up off the floor, so you might want to pull a chair close, something to help push yourself up. One thing we can do is roll over onto our sides. We're going to come from this position to all fours. Kind of make sure we're stable. We're going to put one foot on the floor, the other foot on the floor, and we're going to roll it up slowly. So whatever way you can get up off the floor that works for you is good. We're going to stretch our legs a little bit before we finish. I'm going to take one hand, hold on to the chair. I can hold on to a wall, and I'm going to reach back and grab the top of my foot. Maybe I can only grab my heel of my shoe, but the idea is that we get a nice stretch through the front of our leg, the quadricep. We're going to pull that heel back toward our backside, and we're just going to kind of sit into that stretch and get a nice long stretch through the front of our leg, keeping those knees close together, gentle bend in the standing leg, and breathe. And then we're going to switch legs so that we're going to take the opposite leg and we're going to pull the heel or the top of the foot back toward our bottom. Once again, nice long from our hip to our knee. Knees come together, and we're going to breathe through that stretch. Try not to lean forward on that stretch. We want to try and stay upright, nice and long through our torso, and breathing. And release it. That's the front of the leg. Back of the leg, we have a couple options here. We can sit back and extend a leg forward, reach down toward the shin, toward the toes, pulling the toes back toward the knee, nice long stretch in the back of the leg. Or if you've got a chair or something that you want to rest that leg up, you can do it that way as well. We're going to lower the chest down, reaching toward the ankle, the foot, lowering the chest and getting a nice stretch through the back of the leg. Anytime we're stretching, we're breathing. So we don't want to be in a position where we're not flexible, it's uncomfortable, and we can't breathe through the stretch. So do what you can and don't forget to breathe. And stand it up. And then we're going to switch to the other leg. So either we are sitting back, extending the leg forward with that opposite leg, or we're taking it up on a chair. I'll do the opposite this time that I did before. I won't use the chair. Sitting back, lowering my hand to my ankle or to my toes, pulling the toes back toward the knee, lowering the chest down, and we're getting a nice stretch through the back of the leg. And we're breathing. You want to hold the stretch long enough so that that muscle gets a chance to lengthen. And then you're going to stand it up. So we stretched our chest and our back. We're going to stretch a little bit through those arms and then we'll be finished. So we're going to do a tricep stretch. You're going to take one arm up, take the other across the top of the head, and you're going to pull that arm so that the elbow comes across, the hand comes down the back, and we stretch the front of that, what looks like the front, it's actually the back of the arm. Stretching through the tricep, keeping the chin up, the belly button pulled in, and breathe. And we're going to switch, release that, take the other arm up, Reach over to the elbow, pulling that elbow and dropping the hand behind and breathing. And you should feel awesome. You have done a great job. We're going to finish legs wide. We're going to take it down, sweep the floor, bend the knees, take it up, reach overhead, pull down to one side. Don't forget to breathe and center. We're going to sweep and take it up and pull to the other side and breathe and take it up, and you did it. Awesome. Be well. Take care. Bye.